Welcome to Rauta's Indie 5. Once again, 5 different releases of various styles, quickly going them through in alphabetical order. You basically should know the drill by now. We'll start with the Swedish one-man project called Carcosa, with the second album called Realms. This is, technically speaking, a kind of a combination of melodic death thrash. Definitely more on the melodic metal side than, thrasher side, but one could say there is a little bit of a DNA coming from that thrasher territory. And the point of the whole deal here is to make catchy, melodic, extreme metal music. The weak side on this album is obviously that it uses programmed drums, that is drum machine, not real ones, but the rest of the album is actually pretty nice. That is, the riffs, when it comes to melodic sides, are quite catchy. They're easy to listen, easy to enjoy, even if it's not necessarily so much phenomenal or anything new. But something that is very easy to get into. There is even female vocals to kind of break the patterns and create diversity, which is overall nice. I wouldn't say this is so much a step up from the previous one, the debut album, but definitely not weaker either. It's easy to listen, easy to enjoy, but maybe a bit too much work in progress still. Then we have this older band called Extreme Cold Winter, and with the album called World Exit. Now this is a band that started like years and years ago, but nothing really happened in that department. Maybe because this is a band that some people could say it's kind of a side project like. Well, whatever the real or official status is, this is not very active band. But now World Exit full album is here to deliver some death and doom. That is, the music is heavy, it's slow paced, and it's definitely tapping to both styles. More so even to the death metallic side. I mean, basically the most dominating doom metal element on this album is the very fact that this is slow paced. So if you're thinking about early albums by, say, bands like Winter from United States, or British bands such as Paradise Lost, Anathema, My Dying Bride, you're pretty much on the go. But don't, mix this with the later ones, of the given bands, because they all went to different directions, maybe except for the Winter, because, they kind of quit it. So, in case you just are happy and ready to enjoy some very, very basic, very nicely done, but not very original doom death metal kind of a music, Extreme Cold Winter is very, very solid bet. It doesn't really renew the genre, but it does all the right things in all the right ways. That is, proper production, good growly vocals, and that kind of a oppressing feeling, if you feel. I'm not talking about political oppression, but the kind of heavy feeling that is not exactly melancholic and sad, but kind of putting you down, like, okay, things are dark and the sky is black and all that shit. It's fall and, I need to have some doomy tunes, but with growly vocals, not the clean ones. And that's how World Exit basically is. Pretty cool album, but not great in fact. Then we have this one-man project from United States called Journey into Darkness. This is also a project that started already years and years ago, actually some maybe 25 years ago, mid to late 90s. And it's a side project which taps into the so-called bedroom black metal territory, and it seems like I'm having a hard time to remove the inlay here from within. I don't know why I'm struggling with it. Anyway, very, very cosmic, space-like feeling. If you take a look at this CD inlay, you see the, space. I was about to say it's nocturnal space, but space always looks rather nocturnal, given there is no light. But yeah, this music is one-man operated black metal project. Then there is session vocals, but basically this is Brett Clarin doing his music. Now there was a long hiatus between the first album and the second one, I don't know what was going on. This is the third album, which came pretty quickly after the second one, I mean, unless I'm mistaken. And the style is, very much synthesizer-driven black metal with drum machine. If this sounds somewhat familiar and rings a bell, that might be because Limbonic Art, in essence, from Norway that is, did very much the same kind of a thing. Now, if you do hate keyboards or have a hard time liking them in your black metal, this is definitely your album not to go to. I mean, the synthesizers are more dominating here than the guitars. And of course, the kind of a fast tempo plays a big part of the whole deal here. So you kind of have to like keyboards and fast tempo in order to like this one. Then again, if these are the elements that actually, make your fluids go, and you're like, yeah, then this is definitely right up your alley. For me personally, I find this very, very mediocre album. It's not so much like this album is weak, but it's more like that these guitar riffs are not that good, and the synths dominating too much, in my opinion, take the focus to the wrong direction. The vocals are pretty nice and all, but use of drum machine and lots of keyboard dominating music makes it, in my books, a little bit lame. So I unfortunately have to be this negative Joe this time and say it's not that good. But for people liking the certain subgenre, might really get into that. So take it as you will. Then we go to Chile with some 3 females. Now what makes this interesting is that this is old school death metal. Sepulchral Rites is the name of the band, and this one is MCD, released already in the spring by Dunkelheit. Some of those albums which I showed are, for example, Carcosa is very much summer 2021, in case I forgot to mention, and this World Exit by Extreme Cold Winter is actually autumn 2021, whereas this Journey into Darkness is also September 2021 release. But this Sepulchral Rites was already released in spring 2021, and this is old school dirty death metal, kind of a groovy, very, very muddy, and, well, not too muddy, but kind of a muddy and dirty and, kind of a coming out of catacombs. And this kind of a weird feeling, which in a good way is delivered here as a passion and energy. One could say it's kind of a trashier because of its old school death metal, but yeah, it's definitely death metal, not death trash, if you will. So 3 gals doing good, solid death metal. And what really surprised me is how deep those growly vocals are. I could imagine it must be some, bigger dude doing the vocals. But yeah, this is all-female band, which makes this rather interesting. And the cover is pretty cool, those skulls and, I guess, squirmy maggots or something. Sepulchral Rites is definitely one of the better ones. I think the best one on this pile. So in case you like old-school death metal, go check it out. Already been out since spring, like said. The last but not least is a Finnish band called Voidfallen. This is a band that previously have released only one EP, and now it's time for a full-length album. And it seems like these guys decided to went self-financed. Well, that's the official wording on this one, but as the label on the inlay shows, it's Inverse Records release. But then again, Inverse Records actually have had these kind of a self-financed plans, so can't really say for sure what's the story. Morning Glory with this band. Now, this is something that could be considered as melodic metal meeting symphonic black metal. Imagine like Children of Bodom and Dimmu Borgir having a kid. This is the basic idea what's going on with this stuff. Now, it sounds very, very professional. Everything from those orchestrated parts, well, keyboards, and guitars and vocals and everything. The whole production is very, very solid, very strong. So this sounds majestic and big and strong and, all those fancy adjectives. But where it lacks is, in my opinion, good songwriting. The songwriting isn't bad by no means, but it's more like a lukewarm experience. So where at first you're like, wow, this is sounding big. This is like the next Dimmu Borgir, but more on the melodic death metal side or just melodic metal. Now, that is without pentagrams or inverted crosses or corpse paints and the stuff, but it's not that far away when you really give the music a chance. So, first, it gives you this illusion that this is really, really some majestic, bombastic, and just wonderful stuff. And where it turns out to be is more like, okay, pretty decent melodic riffs, lots of aggression, lots of fast-paced stuff, but that's pretty much of it. In my opinion, actually, this band is at its best when it slows down more into the mid-tempo section. Sometimes it seems like because the band is keeping such a high tempo up most of the time, or that's at least the impression I'm getting from this. I really didn't measure, slow tempo or mid-tempo or fast tempo parts. It seems like the band is at its best when it's doing more in the mid-tempo section. But it keeps blasting, so it's almost like they're hurrying through the songs, which in my opinion kind of dilute the whole thing a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad idea as such, but maybe there is just too much of that fast tempo stuff. But in case you just like Dimmu Borgir stuff and you are into melodic metal, the kind of a Gothenburg style from Sweden, In Flames and Dark Tranquillity and all that stuff, basically melodic death metal flirting with a little bit of black metal, but without the aesthetics and themes of black metal, this really could be your thing. So there's a lot of potential with these guys, but with this album, I kind of understand that they didn't really land with a good deal from a bigger label, because this sounds really that could be something like coming out from Nuclear Blast, Century Media, or Metal Blade, one of those bigger labels. There's everything like in a commercial potential right here. But the songwriting still isn't that good, just not yet anyways. But definitely up for grabs in case you're wondering. This is also very fresh release, early October one. So give it a go in case you think this kind of a genre hybrid is your cup of tea. Now, this is all from Rauta's Indie 5. Take care, and I hope you enjoy some of the bands mentioned here. The links are provided in the description box, so click and open and listen to the music and figure out for yourself. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.